I'm Pete Cantu. I'm the Mayor of Plainsboro Township, and I want to welcome you to another Spotlight Special. I'm pleased today to be here with Dr. Stewart Prager, who's the director of the Princeton Plasma Physics Lab right here in Plainsboro Township. Dr. Prager, welcome to Spotlight Special.
Happy to be here.
I think we know that you folks have had a over 60-year history in Plainsboro Township, I think dating back to 1951. And a lot of people, I think, recognize the fact that you're here, but I'm not sure everybody understands clearly what you do here at the lab, and I think they might be interested in hearing a little bit about that if you could.
Sure. Our dominant mission is to develop a new energy source for humankind called fusion energy. Fusion is the energy that powers the sun and powers all the stars in the universe, and our goal is to make a small star here on Earth, and through nuclear fusion reactions, that small star on Earth generates heat that we will then use to produce electricity. What motivates this is that fusion energy, when it arrives, will be entirely safe, entirely clean, abundant, nearly limitless, therefore available to all nations. And it will be, therefore, just about as ideal an energy source as you can imagine. The catch is that it's scientifically and technologically one of the most difficult endeavors that has ever been undertaken. So we're establishing the knowledge to make a fusion a reality. We have an accompanying mission, which is to develop the field of plasma physics. And the sun is made up of an electrically charged gas called plasma. So plasma physics is the field of science that underlies fusion energy, and we're trying to develop a basic understanding of this particular state of matter.
So it's basically the production of energy and also an understanding of plasma physics, I take. Is that what?
Exactly. The two go hand in hand.
Yeah.
For example, if you want to cure cancer, you have to develop the underlying field of microbiology. And it's the same here. Our application is fusion energy, and the underlying science is plasma physics.
Well, it's an exciting project that you're working on these years, and I think it has great potential for the nation, actually, and the world.
And the world.
You've had a long-standing relationship with Princeton University. Can you tell us a little bit about that relationship?
Sure. Princeton University manages the laboratory. The Princeton Plasma Physics Lab is a Department of Energy national laboratory, one of 10 in the country. And Princeton University, under contract from the Department of Energy, manages the laboratory. But more than that, all of us here at the lab are university employees, and most importantly, we have strong scientific links with the work that goes on at large in the university. So we have links to the astrophysics department because plasmas are critical to understanding the universe. We have links to the engineering college. So the scientific links are extremely valuable, both to the lab and I also think to other parts of the university.
You mentioned you're one of 10 national laboratories, is that correct?
That's right.
How does that work as far as funding the project here is concerned?
Well, the funding comes from the Department of Energy, is about 90% of our funding. And the Department of Energy funds 10 national laboratories that are oriented towards science. You may have heard of some of them: Argonne National Laboratory, Fermilab, Brookhaven, SLAC out in California, Oak Ridge National Laboratory. So we're one of 10, and we're funded kind of like universities are through peer-reviewed competition, but the funding comes from the Department of Energy to carry out missions that are critical to the U.S. That's the principle.
But they're working on different things, I take, in these 10 laboratories. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
They vary quite a bit. There are laboratories which are referred to as multi-purpose laboratories, such as Oak Ridge, that works on a wide variety of topics. And there are laboratories that are more targeted, like PPPL, where we are the only national laboratory that's fully dedicated to fusion energy and plasma physics.
Okay.
An analog to us would be Fermilab in a suburb of Chicago that's dedicated to the field of particle physics.
I see, but it's not just a work that goes on here. There is work on fusion energy that's around the world. Is that correct?
Absolutely, that's an important point. So, around the world and around the country. So we're the main national laboratory in the United States dedicated to it, but fusion is studied at universities across the country and around the world. So there's a huge worldwide and even increasing interest and research investment in fusion all around the world. Asia, in the last 10 or 15 years, is surging in this research area as they see the promise for fusion to meet their energy needs in the future. And Europe has always been very strong.
And there is cooperation between these efforts here in this country, but also around the world. Is that correct?
That's always been true. Actually, throughout the entire Cold War, Soviet scientists and US scientists worked shoulder to shoulder in this problem. Despite the political animosity at the scientific level, there was close collaboration. And today, actually, the world collaborates. In fact, there's a very large project called ITER, I-T-E-R, which is a collaboration involving the governments of half the population of the world, has gotten together to build a very large experiment, which is the next big step in fusion energy. So it's quite remarkable, almost unprecedented.
This scientific cooperation hopefully can serve as an example for cooperation in other areas. It would be
That's
great
right.
if it could happen.
Actually, it is a role model in that sense. Yeah.
While we talked about this experiments and effort going on around the world, there's been a number of breakthroughs right here in this laboratory over the years. And I know I've recalled a lot of publicity on some of the things that you've accomplished. You want to talk about some of those things, if you could?
Well, there have been breakthroughs throughout the year. One that was especially notable took place in the mid-1990s, where for the first time anywhere and ever, fusion energy was actually produced. So an experiment here, which makes a very hot plasma, about 100 million degrees, was operated with the fuel that would produce fusion energy. And for a little bit less than a second, about 10 million watts of fusion energy was produced. This was a real milestone for fusion. And in fact, I would say it in part led to the rapid rise of increasing research in fusion in Asia.
I see.
Which is now very strong.
Because it was viewed as a success, I take it.
It was a huge success, yes.
Yeah, that's great.
A milestone.
Could you talk a little bit about your background in coming? I know you're the director here, but I mean you've had an extensive background in sciences and other areas.
Well, I'm a plasma physicist by training, and work on experiments. And before coming to PPPL, I worked for several decades at the University of Wisconsin at Madison, doing experiments in basic plasma physics, particularly relevant to fusion energy. And then a little bit more recently, I was also working on experiments relevant to astrophysics and astronomy. There's a linkage between work that goes on in Earth-based fusion plasmas and the processes that go on upstairs there in the astronomy.
That's great. Yeah, I was here just a few short weeks ago with two congressmen, Congressman Holt and Congressman Feelinghuis, and they were talking about the importance of the work that you do here, and they've been long-term supporters, as I understand it, and they've also been instrumental in bringing hopefully some assurity of funding for the continued operation here. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We are very lucky here in New Jersey, in my opinion, not just the laboratory, but New Jersey, to have Representative Holt and Representative Frelinghuysen serving New Jersey in the area of science, which is the area that I know. They are real champions, and they both hugely appreciate the benefits of long-term research and fight for it. And they fight for it persuasively and effectively, so they're really both pretty remarkable. They've played a very effective role in helping the laboratory, but also way beyond the laboratory. So
It's great to see that kind of bipartisan cooperation to support something like this. It really is.
I thought it was remarkable that, at that event that you were at a few weeks ago, to have Republican congressmen and Democratic congressmen praising each other,
saying nice things
about each other, supporting each other, and supporting, coming together for common cause that is completely nonpartisan, science and energy. It was terrific.
No, I really felt good about being part of that the ceremony that you had here. It was great. Great to see it happen. In addition to all the great scientific work that you do here, you folks have had a history of great community support, and we appreciate that in Plainsboro. You tell us a little bit about some of the things that you do to support the community, particularly some of the educational programs that you folks are involved in.
Yes, we have a fairly comprehensive, extensive program in education. From the middle school level up to graduate students and teachers. So there's For example, one that I think is particularly terrific and useful to Plainsboro and other surrounding communities is the Science for Saturday program we have. In the wintertime, every Saturday morning, we have some outside speaker from somewhere in the country or world, specially chosen, to come here, talk about some science topic that's hot on the forefront in a way that's understandable by the educated public. And those always are standing room only. We get maybe more than 400 people here on a typical Saturday, and I go whenever I can, and they're really terrific.
I know you do a great job in the educational programs, but you've really done a great job over the years in reaching out to the community and providing opportunities for people to understand your work. And that's particularly, I'm particularly proud and pleased with that. You folks have spent, I've been a mayor here for a long time, and you've spent some 38 years trying to educate me on what you do. And I think I finally begin to understand a little bit anyhow. Okay. So, and we're very pleased to have you here in the community.
Appreciate that.
In addition to that, in addition to the work you do in education and support of educational programming, I really would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that you folks really have been a great supporter to some of our community institutions, particularly our fire and rescue squad and police folks. We have mutual aid agreements with you. Can you talk a little bit about what that entails and how it works to support both us and you, frankly?
Yes, we have a crew here at the lab that handles fire, security, and emergency medical services. And since we're happily housed in Plainsboro, we service the Plainsboro community in that, and actually we send out crews, either ambulance crews or EMTs, each year about 200 to 300 calls to Plainsboro to help out and serve where we can. So we're very happy we can do that.
That's great support, and we really appreciate it here in the community for what you're doing. And you've done it since I was a member of the fire company years ago.
Oh, is that right?
That's right, absolutely. So, Dr. Prager, I want to thank you for being with us today. I know it's been very informative for our listeners, and you do great work here, and we're looking forward to that work continuing and successes for the future. Thank you very much for being here today.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm Mayor Pete Cantu, and again, I'd like to thank you for being with us today on Spotlight Special, and I look forward to being with you in the near future again for another Spotlight Special. Thanks for having us.